Hey, this is Duncan here, and I'm with Tyrone Shum from massoutsource.com. How's it going, Tyrone?
Good, Duncan. Yourself?
Good, man. What we want to talk about today, the way I found out about Tyrone is I was following he and Pat Flynn on Smart Passive Income. They were doing a niche site duel, and so I followed those guys, and what they set up was different um, niche sites and to see who could get to number one in Google. So it was quite entertaining, and I don't know who ended up winning that.
I got to number one place first, but we sort of I sort of just stopped from there because I was trying to look at different ways. But in terms of monetization, Pat took it that step further and started making money from that, and he's been quite successful in making that. I mean, you can see all the reports and stuff that we posted up there, and Pat was sort of saying, "Why is he not getting to first place first?" But that didn't really matter because at the end of the day, what was important was showing how we put that process together and also how we could have monetized that site. So that's what we did on that niche dual challenge.
For those of you who don't know Tyrone, he's actually what I consider, one of the outsourcing masterminds, and I've learned quite a bit. I've subscribed to a couple of his the tutorials online. So what I wanted to talk to Tyrone about today and share with you guys is the way that real estate agents can implement outsourcing into their real estate business, so that number one, they can create more passive income and also create a little bit more time for themselves to spend with their families or kids or whatever. So I know Tyrone just got married, so he's living the life that we all want to dream, which is working online, traveling, spending as little. I think one of your goals is to spend as little time working as possible and put it on, put the passive switch on, right?
Yeah, like on my blog that I've got at outsourcinglife.com, I've written down there just at the bottom that my goal is to work at least a maximum of 12 hours per week within the business. And last month, because I got married and I spent a lot of time with the family, I pretty much smashed that goal. But that was only for the first month. So I'm testing it out right now, and yeah, just cutting down as many hours as I can. And it's not about working less, it's actually working smarter. The whole goal is to actually have the good systems in place and to make sure that your team that I've got surrounded by me or with me can actually do everything that I'm supposed to be doing if I'm not around. And that's what happened last month, was that they continued to build the niche sites, monetize a lot of the things that I was doing, and also run the business as well. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, and I'm proof of it, just showing from that last month.
Well, we were talking earlier before we started recording here, and you actually said that you were a real estate agent, and
Yep.
so you mentioned, hey, you wish that you would have known back then what you know now with regards to outsourcing. So for the people that don't know what outsourcing is, I mean, I didn't even know what it was until about a year ago,
Mm.
and I'm doing a little bit of it for a couple of my real estate things. So why don't you tell them what outsourcing is, and maybe how you can see them applying that to certain outsourcing tasks within real estate.
Sure. Well, first things, maybe let's just take a step back and just explain to people how outsourcing can benefit them first. There's usually about three or four different points that I run through, especially when I'm coaching and teaching people on stage. The first thing about outsourcing is that it is beneficial in that it can save you time. That's the first thing that people don't realize, that it's so important to be able to do. And it can also save you money as well. People think that, oh, you got to spend that kind of money to be able to get it. But if you were to spend that money to go and say program a website or to build backlinks to your site or to even just do administration type of tasks yourself, you got to work out the dollar per hour that you're getting charged out to the work that you're doing. And say, for example, if you're earning like 200 bucks an hour as a real estate agent and you could hire someone to do all the administration work for you for $5 an hour, it's kind of a no-brainer that you should outsource a lot of that administration stuff. So the second point is really cost savings. You'll save a lot of money just by outsourcing. And then third thing is that it allows you to grow any type of business, or to actually free you up from having to work inside your business. So those are really the three main benefits of outsourcing. But talking about what outsourcing really is, it's simplistically being able to just take whatever type of work that you have currently with you and pretty much get someone else to complete it for you, either in another country or locally, at a much lower cost than what costs you normally to do yourself. So that's pretty much what I define as outsourcing.
What would you advise them to outsource immediately? Because a lot of real estate agents, they don't really know how to even get started. Clearly it's about getting clients
Mm,
and trying to build their clientele base. So most of those agents won't have listings where they'll have to work
mm.
and they'll
Build
actually,
that database and actually go out
yeah.
there.
So for somebody that doesn't have listings, I mean, what could you see them outsourcing initially that would help them?
Well, from my experience when I was a real estate agent, I think I said to myself the most important thing that would actually bring in income into my own real estate business or my own real estate per se sales to make money is to go out there and meet people, face to face client meetings and do as many inspections as possible, and to also to show people what's possible that they can do to sell their house. So if I can focus my time on doing that, then all the rest of the stuff, such as follow-ups, like via email or to send out pamphlets via the mail, all that kind of stuff, shouldn't be all done by you, because that stuff really does take the time. As an agent, I remember I spent a lot of time looking up and finding out where to hit and target places where I can find listings, such as property to be able to sell. And that took a lot of time. You have to go through the books to be able to find it. You have to contact the people by phone, by cold calling. You have to go through and look at all the previous listings that have been sold in the area. That takes a lot of time. You could actually outsource all that kind of per se research to, say, an administration, and somebody who is can be virtually, or somebody that could be locally that does that for you. It's really hiring more or less like an assistant to be able to manage that for you. The other thing, as specifically as a real estate agent, is we did a lot of pamphlet drops or brochure drops just to be able to promote your brand and your name as well in the area. That kind of stuff, if you want to go down, walk the streets and spend hours doing that, you can. But I think it's more effective for you to be meeting people face to face or making cold calls to be able to find clients. So once again, you can get that outsourced and get someone else to do that for you. Instead of you spending that time dropping letters yourself, you can get someone to do that for you. Um, Sending out emails, sending it out to databases, that kind of stuff is very, very much a monotonous task, and it's just very, very recurring. If you have some set emails that you got to send out on a regular basis, people can send that out for you. And if you find someone else to outsource that for you, that would really, really save you a lot of time. Now, in terms of administrative title work, I'm really focusing on teaching, I guess, showing people to outsource a lot of that, because the fact is that if you spend a lot of your time sitting behind a computer, typing up emails, answering replies to certain questions and so forth, that can actually be all outsourced, and maybe perhaps you hire a virtual assistant or someone like that to be able to answer those questions for you, would really save you a lot of time, because then that way you go out and do more face to face or look for more listings and build up your business that way. So really, it's just all the administrative type of tasks that I recommend that you can outsource as a real estate agent.
If I was just starting out as an agent, uh, I would definitely be, doing a lot of social media, tweeting, Facebook, all that stuff. So is that something that you see that can be outsourced as well?
Oh, definitely. I was actually going to mention more about sort of the internet side of things. I think the thing that people at this point in time with real estate agents, I know that some of them are already currently doing that, but a lot of them are still doing the old school way, which is basically to use the old forms of media, which is letterbox drops, pamphlet drops, door knocking, cold calling. There's those things are still effective, but it takes a very, very long time. But you could build a brand quite fast by using all those social media types like Facebook, Twitter, now there's Google Plus, and you could pretty much get someone to help you set up all that branding behind, set up your profile, set up all the things that they need to do to be able to get in contact with you and handle that side of things and get people to know about you. And once you build up that kind of following behind you, you can start to collect emails. And once you start collecting emails, that starts to become your database that you can promote to. And that's very, very powerful, because at a click of a button where you send out one email, you could hit hundreds of people instead of spending hundreds of dollars letterbox dropping for people locally. And they might be a lot more targeted than you just doing like a canvas drop all around locally, which is what I found to be very, very time consuming, but and also too very costly. So if you can start to collect email addresses, create landing pages to drive traffic, drive people there who are looking in your area to sell, then you really, really could build up a substantial database online and become the online expert on real estate. And I know, like for myself, when I was in real estate, the stronger competitors in the market were the ones who were already online and doing it very successfully. They were doing a lot of their promotions online. They were driving a lot of traffic from their website online to their databases, and they were also using a lot of the online methods because it was very low cost comparison to doing all the pamphlet drops and the expensive newspaper advertisements. So that can all be outsourced and managed virtually. You don't need to do that yourself.
So, have you found that there's one country with that you like where you outsource your tasks at? I know I use a girl in the Ukraine. She does some real estate tasks for me. She's been working for me for a year, and I trust her with a lot, almost everything I do in real estate. So, for me, that's worked for me. Ukraine. What about you? What's your experience with that?
Well, I've tried different countries myself, and my first experience was with people in India. Unfortunately, that experience didn't go as well.
I had this one.
So
It was thumbs down for me.
yeah, I'm not gonna say any more comments than that. But to be honest, I didn't actually go back there. So from there, I went straight over and I found people in the Philippines. And since then, I've stuck with the people in the Philippines. And the reason why because the people in the Philippines are very loyal. They're well spoken. The English is pretty much trained up from the American culture, so therefore there's a strong influence from that side of things, and therefore they can understand what we're talking about. Whereas I've dealt with different cultures, and sometimes when you explain a task or you explain something to them, they don't really quite understand, and therefore they can misinterpret what the task would be, and therefore you'd have that communication issue. So with the Philippines, I know that I won't go wrong because when I talk to them on a daily basis or when I talk to them on a weekly basis when we have meetings and stuff like that, the message goes across clearly because I know that when they come back with the action work, it's done. I don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to get done properly. So my preference has always been the Philippines, and that's what I recommend people to go to, and it's worked out really well. I know there's a lot of people going over there now, particularly from all around the world, to be able to outsource their work to. And there's still going to be plenty of work over there for them to be able to do. But over a period of time, obviously, with so many people going over there to get people to work for them, the cost of their wages would probably go up as well because there'll be a lot more demand. But as yet, I haven't seen it too bad, and I'm still able to find people for reasonable cost price. In saying that, also to trust, as you asked me, was I find that the Filipino, just because it's in their culture, they're the most trustworthy and loyal type of people. They're very honest. And if they do have any questions, they won't just go behind and say, I don't understand, or not do anything. They'll actually come and ask you. Like the other day, for example, if this is the thing about Filipino culture, the other day my programmer came back to me and said, "Sir, I've been working for you for a year, and I think it would like to talk to you a little bit more about getting an increase in my salary." And I completely forgot about it because usually after at least 12 months or so, I usually review the salary. But because they're the type of people who are very good at remembering these things and also very loyal and honest, they won't go sort of tiptoeing around saying, "Oh, can you give me a raise in salary?" They'll actually come out and ask you directly and say to you and ask you nicely. So things like that, they're very, very good at, and I know that they're very loyal to get things done. And if things aren't right, you sit down with them, give them a few chances, and then they'll fix it up. And they don't want to disappoint you. If they disappoint you, they feel really bad, and that's where the loyalty and the integrity comes into play. And it's something that I found just working with the Filipinos. I mean, even myself as a Chinese background origin, I feel the same way too. If I disappoint someone, I want to make the best to make it up to them, make sure that things get fixed up properly rather than just leave them out in the loop.
Right.
So it is in the culture somewhere along the lines, and you can trust them. Obviously, for the first start, when you're first starting as a real estate agent and you're starting to outsource, for the first month or so, yes, test it out first. Don't obviously give them everything. Don't go to the point where you give them the credit cards and PayPal accounts and whatnot to manage. But just build that trust up. And it takes time. It's like anything. When you meet someone new, it will take at least a few months to get to really know this person. And at least a few months down the track, then you can start to trust them with more information. And it's the same thing. Any employee-employer relationship, you just need to do that. So test them out, see that they're suitable, and just give them work, give them challenges. And if they come back exceeding expectations, then you know you can give them more and then just build up that trust with them. That's all I can say. I mean, like it's an experience. You have to go through that. I'm not going to be able to say to you, this is the magic bullet. This is what happens.